Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're talking about new rumors around the Yu-Gi-Oh news cycle. This is really interesting stuff. This is stuff for the new set, Doom of Dimensions. All we've had revealed for that new set is the DDD support. We'll see that stuff is below to see if it legitimizes these kind of, I don't know, predictions. Keep in mind this is entirely unconfirmed, right? That we could end up in a spot where none of this ends up being right. Some of it's pretty easy stuff. They're plucking kind of low hanging fruit, if you will, as you can see from some of this stuff. But overall, it's pretty interesting, and I'm curious to see where this goes because there are some interesting things on here that kind of make me go, that'd be pretty cool. Even though a lot of it is pretty predictable, but so are most core sets. Most core sets, you kind of know almost half the set just from what recently came out. What are they probably supporting in this one? What's the based on the name? DDDs, cool. That's 1/10 of the set anyway. Like, go from there. But you'll see. Let's go one thing by one, and we'll talk about these and get down here because it's a pretty long list here. But just keep in mind, grain of salt. Take everything here we talk about with a grain of salt. None of this is confirmed at all. It's just a fun discussion. So let's talk about if these things are true. How cool could they be? So let's start at the top here. Utopia support. This is not surprising at all. They've been doing this for multiple core sets where, support comes out on a core set on the cover, a big anime archetype, and then in the next set they get one or two more cards that just make them a little bit better. Not crazy usually, but like sometimes it's really nice. Sometimes there are some pretty nice cards there, but um, Utopia support there. I don't know exactly what they get at this point, to be honest, because Utopia is honestly okay. It actually has a couple tops in the OCG, but I don't know what they do here. But Utopia is fun for sure because it doesn't feel like it's all the way there. It just feels like it's an okay rogue deck, kind of farther away. But we'll see if they kind of can tie it in and maybe give them one more powerful option there. Next up, you get into the Justice Hunter stuff, two Dragon Tail archetypes, archetypal support cards, two Yummy cards, two Canine cards. These are so tough. I hope all of these are just mid, to be honest, or helpful in a more utility way, where it like doesn't necessarily make the deck stronger, but like more flexible for any of these three, because all three of these archetypes are performing really well, especially for deck build pack archetypes standards. So this is the first one I've seen in really years and years and years where all three archetypes are seeing success in the OCG. So yeah, I don't know what they'll do, but hopefully none of these are like too crazy. Maybe just nice options available for decks instead of making them like that much better. Next up, we look at tactical tri decks, non archetypal support. When they say tactical tri decks, I don't think they're talking Exorcister and R Ace because they're down here. I would guess that they're talking about Dark Magician. Um, why am I blanking so hard? Mikanko and Masked Hero. I would hope that some of that is here, but it does say also non archetype support. So I don't know what that means. They also have a question mark for the amount. Does that mean, some might get two, some might get one, some might get three. I don't know. But that's interesting. And that's something I would expect with the tactical tri pack so far. They've done a good job of making sure, even when they get their stuff, tactical tri decks last year, they kept getting stuff, core set after core set after core set. You're like, here's a nice little card. Here's a nice little card. Three down the line, they were like, here's direct support now, and go and work with it. So we'll see. But that's still cool to see that they're kind of giving them support, like, or even more support like this early on. And I'm curious to see where they go with it. Next up, we have an Exorcister support and a Rescue Ace support. Very curious on this that they specifically note that the tactical tri-deck ones are non-archetypal support, whereas these are support without saying non-archetype support, which is weird to me just because like last year when we got the tactical tri decks, I guess, from last year, they went not indirect support, indirect support, indirect support, and then direct support as the final one. So to me, it just makes me kind of be like, what are they going to do here? Are they really going to go with direct support for Exorcister and Rescue Ace this early on? Or does this kind of not seem to match up with what went on last year? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Three new Artmesia cards, and I've already seen Artmesia do better than I honestly thought it would out the gate. in the OCG. Not that it's been crazy, but I think they had like 3 to 5 tops, early on the most recent Row of the King. So that's better than I thought. I thought this deck had a nice core, a lot of consistency, but I didn't think it was really strong enough. It had like a game plan strong enough, but it has already kind of been doing better than I thought. So I can't complain. 3 more cards could really do a ton for that archetype. We'll see what those do. This one is where we start getting into some more interesting things for sure. So this one lists a new Morganite boss monster and a Morganite quick play spell. That's very, very interesting because now there's quite a bit of searchability throughout the Morganite archetype. You could argue consistency is still rather low, even though they can play like all the pot cards you could want. You could argue the new girl is like such a choke point that if she gets negated, like it does kind of stop your deck from doing a lot because it takes your normal. And then, like, what else are you even doing that turn if you're not resolving her to get like an additional normal, all that stuff, right? But with the boss monster, I don't know. Makes me wonder, is it going to be a main deck monster? Is it going to be some weird fusions? Is it going to be a Link 1? I have no idea, but that is very interesting. I'm very curious to see what a Morganite boss monster would look like for a very stun oriented strategy. I'd be very curious. And then obviously a quick play spell can be crazy, but until I read it, I'm really not sure for a deck that really has only had normal spells this whole time. So I'm very, very curious to see where these go. Because it seems like they're not afraid to like try and push the limits of like what some of these stun strategies can be. So I'm curious to see where they go. From there, we move to 2 more psychic cards. These cards were not really cover support in Duelist Advance, but like they got like a very big wave. They got like a new version of Emergency Teleport. They got some other just generically pretty good psychic support cards, kind of generically. But very curious what these 2 cards do. Where do they take psychics? What else do they add to them? A lot of the cards were like fine, I thought, but not like crazy. So like I guess I'm kind of happy that if the support I thought was kind of underwhelming gets 2 more and maybe they tie it together even more, maybe they go to the next level. We'll see. Now for one that's very, very interesting because this is the only thing we've had revealed for this core set whatsoever, and it's the new DDD support. Now, they got it right that it was DDD support on this prediction slash leak, whatever you want to call it. This is until anything more is confirmed. This is at best up in the air. Here's what we got. They were right on DDDs, but I made multiple videos saying, "Oh, Doom of Dimensions, that seems very DDD," and it was. So anybody with a computer could have predicted, and typed all this out, predicting this prior to DDD. So I'm not all the way there, especially because look at this. We got 9 DDD cards. I'm almost positive. This is 8. 2 extra cards. I'm pretty sure we got 3. I think we got a fusion. I think we got an exceed, and I think we got a synchro. Almost positive we got 3. 1 continuous spell. That I think is true. 1 normal spell. I don't remember a normal spell. I don't think there was a normal spell at all. 3 monsters. I think 3 monsters is about right. 3 main decks. I think it was like regular monster. Oh, no. I think it was all 3 pendulums. Was the tuner a pendulum? I don't know. But like, I think 3 monsters, right? And then they even say counter trap. It wasn't a counter trap. It was a continuous trap. So I'm very confused here because like, me generically guessing what DDD could have gotten out of this support, I could have typed this up. I could have guesstimated 3 monsters, 2 spells, and 2 extract monsters, and a counter trap. But these are just off. It's continuous, not counter. There's no normal spell, I'm pretty sure. And instead of that, they got 3 main extract monsters instead of just 2. So like they got DDD right, but nothing else was right, really. So I'm like, it makes me very skeptical because DDD was like the easiest thing to predict from this set. So I don't know. It's kind of putting me in a weird spot where like this thing may not be true, or I don't know. They may have seen versions of this support, where stuff looked like a counter instead of a continuous. I don't know. I don't want to discount it like entirely because if everything else on this ends up being right, I'll look like a complete clown. But it does make me very skeptical. I'll say that. All right, and then let's finish up here. 3 rocket support cards, including a Link 5, which is interesting because don't rockets already have a Link 5 that's like really strong? That seems crazy. A main deck monster and a spell. I'm actually more interested in those because at this point it seems like Rockets and Dragon Link as a whole kind of need some pushing there for their engine to see like to match like modern engines that are really performing. But I think 1-1 honestly could do it if they're that good, but we'll just have to see there. But that's interesting. Crawler. I can't believe this is true. We got one crawler card, Soma, like a couple years ago. When we got it, I said, oh my God, if we got a Subterra card, like coded card, that's basically very similar to this, I'd go crazy for it. We haven't gotten that. And so, like, do I think they'd make another crawler card from World Legacy support without making any new World Chalice cards, any Mech Knight cards, any? I guess they did make Orcus, so Orcus doesn't count. But like any Crusadia cards, do I think they'd go back to Crawler before they go to any of those other archetypes? That just seems crazy to me. But like again, they're still not good, so like they might just want to make them better. Paleo support card. This is very interesting. It's a trap card, apparently. Is this like a generic card that just happens to have good synergy with Paleos? We've seen a lot of monster trap monster support over the last couple of months. Like, is it possible it's that way? Is it actual and named Paleo card? If it is, a trap doesn't necessarily make me think that it's going to be like that crazy, but like who knows? This one's a crazy one. 3 adventurer support cards, a main deck, a field, and 1 extra. This is very interesting to me because like this engine fell out of favor because like of consistency and ratios and all that, where like you had to play 6 starters and 3 bricks, and that's like a weird ratio that's like not necessarily worth when we have stuff like Fiendsmith that just the ratio from bricks and starters is just so much better. But 3 cards is a lot. You can fix a whole engine with that. So as a Crystron fan, where Adventurer definitely has some synergy, this one is very interesting to me. I'm very curious to see what these new cards look like. 2 Pearly cards, a Quick Play, and an Exceed. They need to be really good. I'll be honest. Pearly is just not there. It needs to be really solid, but honestly, a really good Quick Play and a really good Exceed could do it if they're easy enough to make and take advantage of. So Pearly is definitely an interesting one. And lastly, Blackwing. This will make a lot of people happy. A lot of people love Blackwings. They have a really good base of cards. So like, I don't think they need to be that crazy, but if they fundamentally just improve the power and maybe consistency a little bit and maybe flexibility in working around interruptions and stuff like that, like that would go a really long way. But I've always liked Black Wings. They're so combo heavy that it's just not necessarily my cup of tea nowadays, even though I loved them back in the day. I thought they were so cool. But yeah, that's another really cool one. So a lot of really interesting stuff being shown off here. A lot of it's super obvious, right? Like Utopia support, duh. Uh, you know, Justice Hunter support, duh. Tactical tri deck and tactical tri pack stuff, like pretty obvious also. Like, what are we talking about? Like, those are very recent sets. Art Magia follow-ups, sure. Morganite, we've been getting a card of sets. That's like, even though it's interesting about like the boss monster and a quick play, like, which is a little different than what we've been getting. Like, we still have been getting Morganite cards like almost every core set, so not surprising. Psychics in the set before, DDD obvious because of the name. Really from here down, everything you see on the screen, this is where the really interesting stuff kind of kicks off, where it's like, this was not super obvious. And once we get one of these revealed, if we get one of these revealed, that's when I'll start to look at this kind of rumor as like, ooh, this might actually have some credence to it. So we'll look deeper into it. But for now, there's our reveal here. Let me know your thoughts down below. If this is kind of a large portion of the contents for the new core set, Doom of Dimensions, let me know your thoughts down below. If it's true, would you be happy with a lot of these options here, or would it depend on how they execute the new cards? Obviously, that's a huge part of this, always, on how they execute cards. I talk about that all the time. I don't care about Rescue Ace support if it's super, super mid. No one cares. But if it executes and it makes Rescue Ace like a good deck again, then I'm interested. Same thing for kind of everything here. So let me know your thoughts down below. Where do you land on this? Would you be happy with this? Would you not? Any thoughts about anything specific here and what you'd want to see? I'd love to hear from all that down below. But I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel for more things from me down the line. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.